Hey everyone. Welcome to the first official. What are we calling this, David? I just
The Icon Weekly News.
the Icon Weekly News. I was just about to say Iron Icon, but it's the Icon Weekly News because now we are working for the foundation, so we wanted to bring the news to everyone in a more official capacity, and it's kind of the same whole format. In all honesty, we may not share our views here, but the goal is like uh, one of the things we took away when we stopped on Icon and listened to Studio Miro spaces and things like that is people really appreciated the news. It was like that one-stop shop to kind of go and get everything going on in the ecosystem. So in the background, me and Dave were like, well, why stop that? It would be of value to actually bring this via the official foundation channel and not being just covering all the news basically. So, David, but long-time fans, how you been? Like people have been wanting to hear your voice. I have.
Oh yeah, very well, thanks, Fez. Very busy, very busy. Like yourself.
Yes.
Um, I happen to know that. Yeah, ready to do the news, just like we were doing, but more boring. Yeah,
More boring and faster, right, David? We're going to keep it under an hour.
fast paced.
Oh,
Let's
damn right.
go.
This is it. Let's see. Let's get the right view on. Yep, there we go. Okay, landing page. Now, what's the first topic? I felt we needed to talk about this. I think when I saw this, David, I got extremely excited. So, if everyone didn't know, Stakey had gotten a CPS grant and built this, and it was open source on GitHub, but it was just code at the time, and we saw Gangster Verse adopt it and built their own voting mechanism for CPS via their native token Crown, which was cool. But in the background, they have actually kept working and built a page around it that allows you to essentially track all the DAOs that are currently on Icon and uh, launch your own DAO if you want to. And David, do you know I've had many conversations, not just with you, but people have reached out talking about how they can launch a DAO, what would be, a successful DAO on Icon. And half the challenge is like, okay, now have this idea, how do you get started? Well, here you go. Now there is a tool to literally launch your own DAO, even create tokens and contracts. So if you have tokens, you just register the existing token. And there's a solid guide deploy tutorial over here that you can follow as well. So I was super excited to see this. I don't know how you felt, David.
Good tooling, and immediately put to work by
Ooh.
the Gangsterverse in decision making on behalf of their node when it comes to the CPS.
Mm-hmm.
Clause, which is the next tab that you have open, has just announced their first governance vote, which runs through this same platform. This is so fresh that it hasn't even been added to the Icon DAO's front page that you just showed. Clause is the big NFT project, and they're actually putting up a proposal to enable 3% royalties that would flow to the token holders. I did a tweet on this a bit earlier. It's essentially people with Claw token can now vote to get paid for holding Claw token. So I'm guessing that it's going to be 100% yes vote.
So where are
So it's
they getting
happening.
paid from? Is it resales or?
Royalties of resales, yeah. So
Okay.
they'd have to sell first,
Mm, mm.
but that's how it works. And before it was zero, or at least nothing was going to holders of that token. And now the vote is up on that platform Agora that Stakey built.
Mm.
So we're seeing ecosystem projects grabbing this tooling, saying thank you, and enabling it for decision making. So curious to see what's next
Yeah.
on Agora.
Yep. No, love it. Haven't if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Check it out. It's a huge value add for Icon. Okay, next up, we've just seen a series of announcements from Framed. Everyone knows who Framed is, but I don't know if this is the right one to cover first. I think this is the first one we should cover. Excellent. So, Framed announced that they have partnered with award-winning web design firm Design House. Now, what's cool here, and if people didn't realize, is obviously Framed Yeti. They're building the card game that's coming out. What's that called? The name always escapes me, David.
Thethania.
There we go. I won't try to say it. They're building a suite of products across Icon and have a great team. But one of the other things they do is a consultancy service where they actually build different aspects. And now web design seems to be one of them that they've incorporated in their portfolio. And we're already seeing the fruits of this partnership, which is the, I'm going to call it Penguin Project. They are doing, I'm not across this. I know we were originally going to get them on the old days on Iron Icon. Can you believe it, David? Those are the old days. We were we were going to, but essentially they partnered. So, and this is what's cool. This is kind of the activity. This is a personal opinion, but the activity you want to see in an ecosystem where a team has a skill set or connections of all these things, and we've got other teams who have launched successful products but may not have the connections or the right people to build out the more technical components. They require tokens, web design, things like that, and this is a NFT collection that has been quite successful on Icon, and now they've partnered with Frame to really evolve their collection from just being NFTs to. Are you across the Penguin piece, David?
No further than you are.
Damn.
I got halfway through the initial Medium announcement,
Yeah.
but not all the way through yet. So that's all me.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I believe, I think we should definitely get a bit more detail and talk to it. But I know they're essentially trying to become a hub of some sort, an Icon using the NFT collection, which I think is pretty cool. Again, different use cases. So, but we'll stop there. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah. So then I thought this Penguin, let me check them out on Craft,
Mm.
the NFT marketplace, and they're quite dear. So I thought, no, I can't just support this right now by just supporting the way you do.
Yeah. Look,
And
yeah.
no, that's where it stopped for me there and then. So yeah, more reading to do, I'd say.
Honestly, I did the same thing. I was like, okay, maybe I'll nab me one of these, and then, no, I was like, whoa, okay, well done, well
And then
done.
it said because the recent news from Penguin is that their crown like OG NFT
Yes,
was minting, at an auction starting at 4K ICX. And I'm like,
yes,
I don't know if this is the right time to get in or to show my support, but I do support.
yes,
Um,
definitely.
but
Uh,
someone has to tell Framed that this is a bear market. Do they know that this is a bear market?
no,
Because
no.
they are powering through with partnerships and collabs and the Thania product, like hires, announcing new hires.
Honestly, bear. No, they don't know such terms. I once mentioned it in a chat with them guys. Bear market. They just question mark the whole
The
suggestions. They didn't.
concept.
Yeah, they didn't. It didn't register, which is good. That's how we want teams thinking. Okay. We can see as well over here. What was this about? Well, Jabba's been
Jabba's
well.
having a field day with all the Framed news, and he compiled it all into an image. And I thought, yeah, just give a shout out
Yes,
to this.
this is good. Oh, yep, yep. You can see the portfolio, right? Yep. And yeah, no, it's good. It's good stuff. Okay, next up we have the hackathon. So this is good. We're seeing this. It's getting a ton of support by everyone. My understanding, this hackathon has in the background as well. Eric has been pulling a lot of work from. I think it's for the hackathon as well, like via RFPs for some of the protocols building, and
Yeah,
pushed it as suggestions of what we want to see participants in the hackathon do. I've got
yeah.
that right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, linking up the hackathon assignments or its ideation to what it is that the Icon ecosystem needs, which is best found through the RFPs listed on the Icon Foundation page.
Hmm.
So by linking those together, you now have 350 participants with all the noses in the right direction, or at least the right direction we think.
Yeah.
So that helps.
Yeah, no, it's huge. It's great. Let's hope to see some more stuff come out of it. Let's move along. Okay, Ohm. Oh, yes. Look, we know what happened with Ohm, and the team have been steadily giving updates. And you can see over here now that we're close to the code review being complete, a few more fixes being pushed, and then they plan to reactivate the repay, withdraw, and claim functionality first. So my understanding with all of this, obviously, I've seen a few tweets. People, be careful. Market conditions have changed. Fortunately, market conditions have changed favorably since the hack, I would say. But at the same time, the Oracle components and things like that, I believe, won't be activated. Like there will be a bit of time for everyone to get their um, uh, assets in gear. I was going to say their things sorted without risk of any liquidations and things like that. So it's great to see that no one's going to incur any losses post the hack. It's been transparent communication from my view, and yes, it's from the. That's how I personally feel. Obviously, they have been transparent, and we're going to be given enough time to tackle what we need to on the protocol. As for the protocol, well, it'll be interesting to see next steps once it gets activated and users get their funds off, what the appetite is. I'm very interested to see the repercussions of such a hack.
Yeah, you mean in the open market afterwards?
Yeah. Like, is there users are going to still use the protocol? Like, it'll be interesting. Uh, how
Haven't all the users locked up for 4 years?
well, the tokens, but are they going to use the money market, right? Like
Yeah.
the one hand, yeah, I get, but um, the protocol itself will only be a success if people are actually putting the coins on it, and that's how the protocol generates revenue, right? So, um, yeah, look, it'll be interesting. I mean, people would be a little more. I'm guessing. Like I know I would be a bit more cautious before when I'm using protocols like that of how I manage my stack on those protocols. Where in the past days, David, you know me and my degen ways, which is always I never learn. Maybe I will learn, but yeah,
Yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah.
Statistically, the safest protocol out there right now.
I mean, yes, twice. Come on, no one's heard of that. Anyway, we focused too much of that, but look, great to see updates there. Balance. Oh, I'm very passionate about what's going on here.
Right. This is the balanced vote to increase the share of fees,
Mm-hmm.
protocol fees that flows towards the DAO, and I think it's going from, is it 20% to 30% of fees that would flow to the DAO?
No, no, I think it was much higher, isn't it? So I think 70% goes to the DAO now with this vote, and 30 to. So essentially, the fees that would come to stakers that this proposal is asking for the DAO to get more of it, but
With good reason.
with good reason, exactly. So, look, at the end of the day, the DAO is set up to be used to enable the protocol in many different ways. However, we as token holders choose. And one of the identified issues we have at the moment is we just don't have enough liquidity, right? And mercenary liquidity in the protocol is not helping. And what I mean by that is you and me, David, we put, I've got a bit of ETH and BNUSD in one of the pools, and I'm raking in some balanced tokens thanks to it. But that pool is very much subject to my mentality of I want my money back and I'll remove it, and that liquidity will shrink. And it's just not big enough for traders during volatile markets to kind of go, hey, I'm going to quickly swap my assets into stable or back and forth, because they're going to take too much of a hit on slippage and things like that. So by more fees going to the DAO can continue this loop of offering protocol owned liquidity, which there's a great write up over here. And you can see already in Karma Finance that they're issuing bonds. So they have a ton of balance tokens in the DAO. They're selling these as bonds and for ETH and BTC. And these bonds, if you wait, you can see already this discount climbing, and it'll climb up to 10%. So you can essentially get the balance token at a 10% discount, and over 5 days it vests, and you have the opportunity to, well, either bank profit or loop it or do whatever you want. Not financial advice here, but the goal here is they're taking the funds from the DAO and purchasing assets that they can then put into these liquidity pools. And the bigger these liquidity pools get, the more trading activity will and should happen. And in turn, it'll generate more fees. So even though at the moment it's skewed where 70% is going to the DAO, if we're going from $1,000 a day being traded to $100,000 a day, in the bigger scheme of things, you're still going to be earning more money there. And this is a point the balanced, many of the balance holders and stuff, they're voting. I can see over here it's a bit split. There's a few rejections, and usually we see just mass approvals. But I get why it's rejecting, because it's like, oh, you're taking more of our fees away, but it's very much a short-term play to try and build up that liquidity. And once that's happened, there's no reason why this vote can't happen again to revert it. And it's openly talked about that this is a temporary thing. These kind of votes aren't permanent. Heck, once the protocol has a ton of liquidity, the balance holders could put up a vote and go, well, 90% fees to go to holders now that, the product has become viable. That it is just a matter of the protocol is these DAOs and stuff, the way they're set up is you need to think about the success of the protocol. And at the moment, the protocol needs liquidity to thrive or to get more active users in it, and participation up. So that's just the fact. David? Oh, David, you should tell me to shut up. Any thoughts?
No. You've spoken so eloquently, and it was actually a surprise to me that this was already live on Karma Finance.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I thought this was that this was incoming. So you putting it up was interesting. And then you see where it has the negative discount. I
Yes.
saw a tweet pop by. It was actually a poll by Robbie, who is part of Protocol 7, the team that built this platform, saying, should we disable the bonding in the front end UI when there's a negative discount? Because a negative discount, in other words, is a premium. You're paying a fine for taking out the bond, and when it's minus 12.15%, that's quite hefty. So you're actually getting it at you're getting the balance token above market price. People voting yes, people voting no, don't. So I did see that, and now it all makes sense. What do you think, Fez? Should they disable that
Yeah, I do.
option?
I do, because look, I took part in the bonds when they were offering Ohm, and I literally at that time, this was pre-hack, right? So and with I was taking part in the Ohm and I was looping it. So essentially, and it was ticking me off. The first time I went to do it, I went to do a large sum, and I would have I did the math quickly, and I realized, I actually come out at a loss here. But the protocol is designed that shouldn't happen. And the one thing that I was cautious of when it was, edging closer to the 1% discount, then because these discounts drop as more buys, if it's a higher buy or there's more buys coming through over a period of time. So I actually agree. I think it should get disabled so that people aren't so someone's taken a hit. The reason why this is minus 12 is someone's gone in and paid more than they should have. The goal of these bonds is you buy and it gets released over a period of time because there is a profit in there for the bonder, right? Not the reverse. So thank you to the generous person or individuals who took a hit here, but that's not the goal here. So yes, it should get disabled in my eyes. I was, secretly, David, I had this mapped out in my head, and I realized how wrong I had it. But I was actually hoping, I want to do it the other way. I would love for protocols who are trying to gather liquidity or diversify their DAO assets to offer ETH and BTC as uh, assets discount for stables, for example, because isn't that just the best promotional topic to kind of go, hey, and target Binance Smart Chain users? Hey, did you know you can use Icon Bridge and at any given day get a 10% discount on BTC and ETH? And so bridge activity goes up. When bridge activity goes up, fees are getting paid. That goes to purchase ICX and get burnt. And then you've got these a bit of new traffic coming through. So I feel there's an interesting play there to utilize Karma Finance. But the issue, that the roadblock that I've gotten wrong in my head is, but you need to buy the assets first to offer it, right? Like,
Yeah.
in this case, a DAO can offer the balance token because that's what they have emitted in the DAO for a long period of time via fees and inflation and things like that. So, but I think it would be a good marketing tactic personally. But
And you'd have to take into account the bridge fees coming in, and then your trade fees. So your real yield
user
after.
acquisition, David, like if you're right, but if we lose, say, if it was a $5 cost per fee hit, this and that, $5 per new user traveling across to Icon and commencing their journey, wouldn't you say that's a great bargain?
Yeah,
Love it. He agrees. Okay, let's move on. We're doing it. Okay.
I was never going to disagree.
Okay.
Yes.
Go on, David. What do we got?
Well, you did the Inside Icon episode with Min at the
Yes.
end of January,
Mm.
and he spoke about new hires such as yourself,
Mm.
and he spoke about potential new hires coming in, which I thought at the time was interesting, and he flagged it himself. He said, you see the opposite happening in these markets, so it's interesting to see that Icon is moving the other direction slightly, and I think this is an example of that. Espanicon, long time community member, he's the JavaScript enigma apparently in the Icon ecosystem, and I know because I had questions about that, and I went to the dev support
Yeah.
in the Icon Discord because, like, what do I do? And literally within minutes, response, help. This is what you do. This is how you can go about it. I would look here. Maybe look at these documents.
Yep.
So that was my quick interactions, and now he's welcomed to the Icon Foundation developer relations team. So that's good news.
Yeah, definitely. Huge news here. And yeah, looking forward to having him on the team. I mean, we're just on the team as well. So it's just all these new faces are now suddenly on the team, which is great because, yes.
Yeah.
Who is doing the there's another episode of Inside Men coming, right? Inside
True.
Icon, not Inside Men. What am I saying? I've started to panic because I didn't load up one of the key bits of news we should be covering. So I've gone searching for it, which is just here. So yeah. Anyway, ignore my.
To your question, that's going to be me.
Yeah.
Me asking Min what's been going on in the month of February. What's been happening. He said last month he was looking forward to traveling to Vietnam, I believe, and then he updated us on Twitter that didn't happen because of COVID infection. So we'll see if that's all gone well, and I suppose get updated. STOs is a question that a lot of people are wondering about.
Yes.
He tweeted about it himself, saying let's get the STO party started. Like, what does it mean for Icon is what a lot of people want to know immediately, but also in general, what does it mean? Because I read it, I don't quite understand it, so I'm trying to get my head around it a bit more as well.
Because I remember in the first one, he when I was talking to him, he mentioned in South Korea the appetite, like regulation around it, and things were improving around the STO and blockchain. So to me, it seemed like there was an update there. So yeah, looking forward to.
There seems to have been some breakthrough news because Parameta, formerly known as Icon Loop, has also announced in a Korean article some news there. So it's definitely stuff happening. Which in the end, if everyone defines their use cases and builds it on the Icon SDK, then we're all good to go.
Yep. Love it. Okay, let's keep moving. We got new starters there now. Do you want to cover this, David?
Yeah, the Mashin Sale by Studio Mirai. This has been a long time coming. Studio Mirai is like I don't know if I can say like the biggest NFT collection on Icon, because that might be Gangsterverse or Gangsterbet, because they were the first. So they had that classic first mover advantage, a lot of trading and this and that. But definitely the most expensive NFT on the Icon blockchain was a Tamashi, which was the first collection by Studio Mirai. So you see that collection only had 100 units.
Yeah.
And this one is going to have 10K, of which 1/3 is going to be on the Icon blockchain, and you can see on your screen how that's going. And then there's going to be 1/3 on the Sui blockchain, and I believe the last third is going to be on Avalanche. What I saw as of late. So they get dropped. You mint them in black and white. You can earn. There's a token dropping. You can use the token to color them in, and yeah, it's one of the wildest communities in Discord, I'd say. Lots of engagement and activity, and that is actually a funny thing, because I was cross posting some of the Mashin news to Reddit the other day, and in the comments it was people saying, "Oh, this looks like another dead NFT project from Icon. Like, oh, this looks like nothing." And I responded saying like, "Oh, you might want to have a look at their website or their YouTube, which has the founders speaking, addressing on a stage at a conference, addressing crowds, talking about their projects and everything that's happening." But in all fairness, the majority of the activity is happening in the Discord, which is real time. It's voice chats, events, games, poker tournaments, and all that cross community. But if you go to the website, I can see how you might think that, because the website isn't as up to date, as everything that's happening in real life. So if you want to say what's more important, you would obviously pick the bustling community and everything that's going on. But for the outsider looking in, who just thinks, "Oh, what's this? Let me have a look," that information wasn't as readily available. So I thought that was interesting, because in terms of visibility, we're doing a lot of not just cross posting to Reddit, but there's presence on so much platforms now. There's YouTube, there's CoinMarketCap, there is the Icon News and newsletters getting picked up by Google News in publications, so users might see it pop up there. So it's a focus point, and I just thought that was a funny interaction. The guy was actually quite happy to get all the additional information, and I think the YouTube channel speaks for itself. That would be my I think it's always good when people from projects are visibly talking about it and endorsing it and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And look, people have been waiting after the 100, so if you missed out on the 100, this is your chance to get, and there seems to be a ton still available, so get in there and do it. And if you're not sure, get in the Discord. You'll just, everyone will welcome you. It's very lively in there. It's great. Next up, even the next collection, 16-Bit Fight Club, officially kicked off with the first character getting minted last night. We were on that call. That was rather entertaining. The quiz was extremely hard because there are only 16 in this collection, a total of 32 across 2 seasons. There's a lot of work being done to make everyone work to win the minting rights of each character, usually tournaments or quizzes. And thanks to Chat GPT, this time's quiz was literally information pulled from old 90s magazines of video games. And so you couldn't use ChatGPT to get the answers. It was quite tense in there, wasn't it, David?
It was tough. It's hard. It's hard to answer questions about topics that are, a generation before ahead of you. Um, so it's a lot of guessing, and I obviously didn't win. But
Either.
Cal Z,
Oh, yes.
lucky duck. Yeah, so he got the minting rights. Can you scroll down a bit just so I can see?
The characters.
There you go. It's the first male. The first 16 were female, and now this
Yes.
is the first male.
Yeah. And there's a bit of the story. Okay, look, that covers. Let's David. The next thing, what did we want to talk about? So I think we've given a bit of a coverage of the ecosystem. One of the other things probably people are wondering, well, what are we doing at the foundation? And we haven't really addressed that or done an official comm. So I thought let's spend a few minutes just quickly talking about that. David, what are
Yeah.
some of your roles and responsibilities at the foundation?
How to define? Well, definitely making sure that there's a sustained presence across most relevant social channels. So you might have noticed for the past weeks, if not months, that there is there's consistent presence posting happening across Twitter, um, Reddit, YouTube, video content, coming through that is shot in different locations through different CPS proposals or initiatives. Then there is, of course, the coin market cap that I mentioned just now. That's been a good one. We've had the campaign for the coin market cap that was great in the end of December and January, where we were kind of incentivizing our community members to make the hop to coin market cap and follow us there as well. And in the background, that was really helpful because it wasn't all about just gaining followers. But by hosting this type of campaign, we got the VIP eligibility on the platform, which allows us to essentially post articles and get them pushed to the front page, get them spotlighted, and the coin market cap reach is massive. So it's a really good spot to be in and to get in. So we were quite happy that we got there. Other cleanup, you might say, getting Twitter verified, or at least getting the blue check set up as soon as we could. That kind of stuff. Then we've got some in real life meetups coming up, actually, which is more of a collaboration between communications and dev relations. But that's happening next week. We've got our first real meetup happening. It's kind of a templated event. The idea being that community members, wherever they are, they can do this, and Icon will help you get up and running and organizing a monthly community meetup. Where you actually get to meet face to face. So I'm very excited for that one, and then especially excited for the one after that and the one after that to see if we can grow it and make it interesting.
So David, and these meetups, they're not like everyone's coming down from different. Like it's not like the recent meetup that was CPS funded and things like that. These are more for local Web3 enthusiasts, really, to come together, right?
Yeah, low effort to attend, fun to attend. Roughly 3 to 4 hours. There are elements of a presentation. So there's going to be a couple of speakers. I'll be speaking on topics from within Web3, with questions about it, or asking for advice maybe about stuff that we're thinking about, so people can discuss and get interactive, but also get to know each other, and see what other people are working on. And for people who have never worked in Web3 or have never been involved, it's a great chance to just see how other people are doing it, maybe even get involved. Could be your first steps. But also the other way around, you can just listen and enjoy the company, and then maybe decide not for me, and not come back for edition 2. But the idea is that it is sustainable, so a monthly reoccurring thing that people can count on, and that as it grows and becomes more of a fundament, other people might look in and see, hey, this is happening, this is interesting, people seem to like it, I want to go check it out, I might want to get involved, might want to get my company involved, that kind of stuff. And that's happening in the Netherlands and actually in Colombia already, I think in February, and those are the first like editions of these icon powered meetups, so that's good. And then what else? We've got the Icon community website that is an open source website, so anyone in our community can actually go to GitHub, check out the repository, fork it as you will, and contribute to it. But that's the philosophy, and it's possible. And if you go to the repository now, you can actually see who's being working on that website, who's been committing. You can see exactly what they've been doing. The idea is that community members can contribute in terms of like tutorials, learn articles, maybe blog pieces and whatnot. But the infrastructure to enable that is not in place yet, which is something that we want to get in place so that we can open it up. There's been a round of CPS proposals, or a CPS proposal approved 2 months ago for very interesting Learn articles, and they've already been written. They're already on the website. You can already go and read them, but we haven't pushed them out yet as such because we want to get that funnel in place so that other community members might be triggered to
because
hop in.
That's a great way for, because obviously the website is the main source that everyone goes to discover Icon. So even though if an individual is writing it, it's a great way for them to get exposure because they still get credit that it's their article, etc. It just gets hosted and represented because it's something about Icon, I guess, and more views and So,
but what you need is a set of guidelines and house rules, and how are you going to treat contributions coming in and put them through, and that's something that needs to be put in place so that this can actually be enabled, because up till now and for the past 4-5 years this hasn't even been really possible. Whereas this is just one of those steps in the open sourcing that's really been happening for the past I don't know how long, 6 months, 8 months. So it fits right up that alley. So that's keeping busy, definitely. Anything on your end?
A bit. So on my side, I support the comms aspect a little bit as well. Share ideas, narratives, things that we want to do. And the other aspect that I've taken over is project manager for the IBC integrations, which is great. I've been a PM for a long time in my old career and in the IT space, so I do know what I'm doing there. And so Cyrus is stepped into, because he was essentially managing the Icon Bridge. With that piece finished, he's taking a more of a lead role in that dev relation space, because he and Eric, both devs, they've done a sensational job in creating the processes that these projects should follow to ensure that they are set up and operate in an open source manner. And you can just see that with Icon Bridge, and you can see BTP evolving into that as well. And IBC will use all of that, and I'm just coming into the picture to help manage the teams. We've got various teams building this, and I'm just looking over that and ensuring things are getting staying on track, and what a PM does. So that's quite busy there, but part of that is also, I want to use a lot of what we see the community wanting, transparency and things like that, which we're starting to see already. You would have noticed BTP milestones and things like that. These are all this information's there. There's additional effort now being put in making sure it's front and center, and all this is possible because the technical teams have PMs and dev relations, and the comms teams, along with our community managers, that kind of all getting fed now the same information, and we can say this because we all sit in meetings together every week, and we talk through updates. I'll give the technical side of it, what's going on with the integrations piece, so everyone's getting a synced up information, and vice versa, what the community is asking in Discord. And this is why it's great you see an active push to get into Discord, because when the community is in Discord and people are saying things or just voicing frustrations or even talking about the good stuff, these are actually the community managers, Arush and John, put together reports with sentiments highlighting what's being talked about, what questions we're seeing and things, and this gets fed back up to all of us, and we look to try and improve on it. So the transparency aspect, I know the community been asking, and the integration space, the IBC integrations, you'll soon see something similar like the BTP milestones coming through, thanks to everyone's hard work. So so that's a bit about what I'm doing. I'm hoping we evolve to start doing a bit of monthly. I know the dev updates, but really want to move into also giving like a bit of a video update monthly. This is where things are at from an IBC perspective. I know I was talking to Cyrus and things once, and Eric. One of the other aspects I want to do is, we see in Ethereum the technical meetings that happen, like development meetings. They're open to the public, but generally that aspect is very much open to actual devs working on the projects, and so people can see the level of transparency. It's a state we want to get to, but one thing at a time. Let's get the information off. How much work is there, the milestone list and things like that, so everyone can follow along how the IBC integrations work is. On a personal note, though, I will say, like, just working with these teams, they're definitely very switched on and knowledgeable. So it's been a really good experience already. And
Man, it sounds like you got all the fun stuff.
Oh, come on. What do you mean? Fun? Every day, sometimes it's stuff like, I'm a PM, I'm not a technical PM. And when it starts getting very technical, but you know what? It's technical, but it's all about blockchain. So I find it super interesting, and I'm often...
You're the best PM I know.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm guessing I'm the only PM, right? Oh, you.
I don't know. I'm gonna ask other people what they do. I might meet a couple at our meetup on next Thursday, but I'll let you know if you drop off that spot. But you're the best PM I know. So
well, I'm holding on to this. This is a victory moment for me.
So that's that.
That's that. I think that's a good summary. If people are wondering what we're up to, looking forward to it, to keep doing what we're doing. And I think we'll stop it there. That's a good overview. We've covered everything. How often? I think, should we aim for once a month, David, to give these monthly update? I called it a weekly update, but
yeah, we did. We'll see. I at least once a month.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing it more often, especially if we get to wear matching ICON merch that we loot boxed in Korea.
Yeah, that's right.
But with the Alter merchandise platform inbound,
oh yes,
and a lot of ICON streetwear coming in through Mirai Mart. Oh, there's a lot of stuff that we could be purchasing and wearing, so we'll see how that goes down.
Yeah. Hopefully, just samples. No. Purchasing and wearing. Yeah. No. Look. Thanks, everyone. Until next month. Hopefully, add some comments. Give some feedback in Discord. What you want us to talk about. I know we stuck to it like a general weekly format, but there was a lot to cover, and there's been a few updates there. And as always, not financial advice. I know we deep dive into Karma Finance and a few personal views were shared. They are personal views, never financial advice. Do your own research. We're just two guys that now work at the foundation and still want to keep the community updated with everything that is going on in ICON. So, yeah, I think that covers it.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.